All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And as I mentioned earlier, I really want this to be a nice, frank conversation, and we'll have some opportunity for some question and answer, specific questions that you may have, or anything about we said, or anything that you may have heard before you got here. So this session is being sponsored by Go Green Botanicals. It is the company that my partner Ben and I started this past year right here in South Central Texas. We've been in operations for 9 months now here in the San Antonio, Bexar County, and New Braunfels area. We own 2 brick and mortar stores, and this isn't a promo. I just want to give you a little bit of our background and why we decided to do this. But we own 2 brick and mortar stores, one in New Braunfels and one in San Antonio in the Alamo Ranch area, doing very well. And the philosophies that we started our business was to be community engaged, embedded into the community, and our first level of business was education, is to educate people who were looking for an alternative method for health and wellness, and to take their own accord, their own accountability for their own health and wellness. And just a little bit about me, my name is Maurice. I've been doing homeopathic remedies for 21 plus years. The doctor that I see is a homeopathic doctor. He's in San Antonio. And I would say his name, but he is bombarded with customers. But if you're interested in him, I can speak to you afterwards. He's a fantastic doctor. He only does natural remedies. The only reason I go to the doctor is to get blood work done, and then I adjust accordingly. And I believe, and my philosophy is, health and wellness is preventative. Once you get to the reactionary aspect of it, you got to get back to normal, and then you can start being preventative again. So I believe that that is the model, and that is what we built this business model on. And the first thing we had to do was educate ourselves. So it's been years that we've started delving into the cannabis aspect of natural remedies. And I think everybody has heard in some form or fashion that cannabis has therapeutic characteristics. Is there anyone who's never heard that cannabis does not have any therapeutic characteristics? Well, it does. It absolutely does. And there's a lot of data out there that has proved this. And I just want to make something really clear, that we are not physicians. We are not doctors. And how we attained all this information is by going and looking and finding out where that information is. So as our business owners, we have a staff. We have a staff of consultants. We have 6 of them now. And so in order for them to work for us, we had to educate them. So we have to go where the information is. And right now, in this day and age, it's not in Texas. So we go to California, we go to Nevada, Colorado. They have been doing cannabis products and cannabis, legalized medicinal cannabis for some years. Washington State for almost 20 years now. So we have to go where the information is, and that's what we bring back. And we bring it back at high levels so people can understand it, because that's the way we understand it. It's a very dynamic product, but there is a lot of therapeutic characteristics to cannabis, and we see it firsthand with us being open for 9 months. We have a customer base of about 3,500 individuals that continue to come back, repeat customers, and we see results that they're expressing to us. We also started a Facebook page, and it is a closed group that you must ask permission to join by answering a few questions, just because we want to kind of control that group. And they share all of their information. They share questions, they share what works for them, they share dosaging, they share trials and those types of things. And so it's a very, very valuable resource for those customers that get to find some starting point and to find some confidence to try something that maybe they've never tried before. And so with that, I'm going to let Ben just kind of, I don't know if any of y'all have ever heard of our company before, but there's a few people that have in this region, and Ben can tell you some of the accolades and recognitions that we've had in our short lifespan of being open here in South Central Texas.
Thank you. Yes, we do own Go Green Botanicals. We have been recognized by Fox 7 News Austin, News 4 San Antonio, WOAI, Spectrum News, both Austin and San Antonio, including New Braunfels and San Marcos, Houston Chronicle as well, and we also have been recently mentioned in a national cannabis magazine called Hemp Daily Magazine. Now, people ask, what is CBD? What is that? Well, CBD is actually a natural compound that gets extracted from the cannabis plant. Cannabis is a category for the two distinct plants. We got marijuana, we got hemp. Marijuana is illegal in the state of Texas right now because of the high levels of THC. What is THC? THC is actually a psychoactive compound, is what gets you high, what gets you stoned. It also does have therapeutic aspects to it as well. And then marijuana also has low levels of CBD as well. Now, industrial hemp, or hemp, so to say, is actually the opposite. It's high levels of CBD, low levels of THC. So that kind of the reason why hemp is actually legal in all 50 states, because it has no psychoactive effect. No matter how much you consume, you will not get the high or the stoned effect, but you'll get all the natural medicinal benefits from it, from anxiety to inflammation. Inflammation is actually one of our biggest ones for why people come in. Anxiety is another big one why people come in for. Sleep, Alzheimer's, I mean, you name it. The list is very, very huge. CBD has been able to even help a lot of those conditions simultaneously. Most doctors like to prescribe 2 to 3 different medications for 1 or 2 different conditions. CBD has been helping with a broad amount of conditions simultaneously. That's the reason why it's so effective, and that's the reason why it blown up as fast as it has. CBD has blown up huge. It's super fast. Bitcoin, everybody familiar with Bitcoin? How fast that blew up? CBD is the same way, but it's not going to go. It's not going to go away. It's gonna. I feel it's going to be the next new revolution to medicine. A lot of our customers are already off a lot of their opioids, a lot of their prescription medication. We never advise it. As you said, we're not doctors. They just do that on their own. We've seen a number of benefits and lives being changed because of CBD alone.
That's right.
So
So some of the misnomenclatures that we find, people will walk in and you can find it anywhere, down at the local gas station, at your head shop, Planet K, you can find it anywhere. But what are you getting? Because the legalization, the legalized aspect of what CBD is, to what broad spectrum, to what full spectrum, to what isolate is just being defined right now. And they're leading that effort in those legalized states like California, Colorado, Nevada, Washington State, Oregon, because there are other industries that are selling products, calling it CBD, calling it whole plant cannabis, but they're not sure. And Ben has been doing a lot of research on it and explaining the difference between hemp oil, hemp seed oil, CBD, and what whole plant, full spectrum, broad spectrum, what all of that is. And he'll give you a little synopsis on how that breaks down.
Yeah, so everybody always comes in, hey, hemp oil, I need some hemp oil. Okay, do you know what hemp oil is? Because we don't sell hemp oil. You mean CBD oil? Yes, something to take care of my inflammation. So there is a big confusion between CBD oil and hemp oil. Hemp oil actually comes from the seed itself. It has no therapeutic aspects to it. Very nutritional though. It has a lot of omegas and fatty acids. It's a superfood. Very nutritional. And I highly recommend getting hemp oil too as well, and keep that in your daily diet.
There you go.
CBD oil, can y'all hear me okay? All right. CBD oil is what comes from the actual flower of the plant. Not the stalk, not the seeds, not the stems. It comes from the actual flower. And it has other cannabinoids too. And industrial hemp, you got about 113 different cannabinoids. So CBD oil has a lot of medicinal benefits to it. Hemp oil is nutritional benefits. We do have what we call an ECS. That's called an endocannabinoid system. And we have that in our bodies. We actually have that. We produce cannabinoids naturally. A lot of people didn't know that. A lot of researchers didn't know that either. Doctors still don't know anything about that. But we found that we have an endocannabinoid system that we can actually become deficient in, and that's the reason why a lot of conditions are being caused, from Alzheimer's to even diabetes, blood pressure levels, blood sugar levels. We got to balance the homeostasis, and by doing so, by outsourcing cannabinoids, which is CBD, CBN, CBGs, there's 113 different ones, terpenes, flavonoids, terpenoids, we're able to balance those homeostasis. We have receptors for CBD, we have receptors for CBN, we have receptors for CBG. And those receptors, once they come in contact with the cannabidiol And cannabinoid molecules, it kind of helps balance, all these conditions that are being caused right now.
That's right. So as you mentioned, these transmitters, they work, and what they do is they send signals back to the body that it needs to do something. It needs to help. There's something going awry. Something isn't working as efficiently as it should, and so it needs help. So that ECS system, that endocannabinoid system, controls your immune system, your nervous system, your emotional system, all the way down from your appetite to your thought process, those types of things. And when you're deficient in those cannabinoids, the degradation starts of the other systems, and symptoms start arising from it. And that's when you start seeing problems. So how do you address them? Well, what we've seen, and as we've seen it in the last 9 months, by that influx of cannabinoids, additional cannabinoids into your body, is helping that body heal itself. So how do you get it in your system? Well, there's multiple. It doesn't matter how you get it in your system, as long as you get it in your system. And we have many methods in order to get it in your system.
Yeah, we do have the widest variety of products because it isn't one product, one dose fits all. I mean, you have topicals, you have edibles, you have oils. Our most popular, of course, is oils, sublingual oils. We have sublingual glands that actually penetrates the CBD into your bloodstream, so that would be effective very quickly. We see results that happen right away in our store because we do have a sample tray, and either coming in for migraine or they're coming in for anxiety, and they're seeing those results right then and there. And that's the reason why oils are very, very effective as well. But again, sometimes oils don't work for everybody. They may need a different form, like an edible. My 6-year-old daughter, who's back over there, and she suffers from ADHD, ADD, and so we keep her on edibles. Having oils for a 6-year-old held underneath her tongue is kind of a little difficult. But so she loves the little gummies that we have, and we prefer that rather than going the synthetic route like Focalin, Adderall, Vyvanse. We went ahead and bypassed all that, but I don't recommend that though to my customers or my clients because we're not a doctor to do so. We just did that on our own because of the knowledge that we do have about CBD in itself.
That's right. So we do, like we were mentioning, we do have all sorts of aspects, and everybody has those, not just us. We do have vapes because there are different aspects to the amount of CBD that you take, and a lot of it depends on the customization of the individual, because everybody's absorption rate is different, because there's so many different variabilities of the absorption rate. How large you are, how healthy you are, how, what's chronicness, how high is the level of chronicness that you're dealing with, because there's a difference between a level 3 anxiety to a level 10 anxiety, and you may need more, and you may need it faster. And so what we've seen, just as a general rule, if you vape something, if you vape CBD, first of all, there are no carcinogens, there's no tar, no nicotine. It is vape with a carrier oil, and it's a fatty oil. Most of it is like an MCT oil or a light coconut oil, because the body will absorb a fat faster than it will anything else, right? So it uses that as a carrier to help you absorb that cannabinoid, and so if you vape that, it's not going to hurt your lungs, so it's not going to incapacitate your lung capacity or anything like that. It's actually healthy for you. It'll get it in your bloodstream faster. But what we've seen, it doesn't stay near as long because you continue to breathe air, right? And you're going to work that way through. Sublingually is the second fastest method that we've seen. It gets in your bloodstream. Anything to avoid the digestive system that it has to process through your liver takes longer and maybe a little slower to start working. But that's the methods that we've seen. So vaping, sublingual oils, edibles that you can eat, and then topical creams. We use, our number one seller is a topical cream for targeted pain and inflammation. And we have some right here. And the thing with these cannabinoids, they are nanoscopic organisms. They are not microscopic, they're even smaller than that. So they're able to delve into those deep and thick tissues like the brain and like your tendons and things like that, and deliver that anti-inflammatory characteristic that cannabidiol has, and get in there and help shrink that. We've seen our number one seller, this pain cream right here, we've seen that go to work as fast as
Minutes,
5
seconds.
5 minutes. Right there before they leave the store, they start feeling effects on some of the anti-inflammation that it brings to them. And so with that, the thing that we really want to stress on this aspect of the session is that it is a customizable dosing for everybody. You have to find the dosage that works for you. And so how we recommend and how a good natural dispensary would recommend is to start small and work your way up. Because if you take too much, it's not going to hurt you, but your body will get rid of it and you're going to waste it. And so we don't want you to waste your money. We want you to find that sweet spot, and then once you find it, you become more keen to the way your body reacts, and then you'll know where you're at, and then you can adjust, and then you can start taking control of your health and wellness, and you start understanding what's helping you and what's not helping you as you go through this health and wellness journey. And so it's not everybody take 2 pills, everybody take 3 droppers. It's not like that at all. So if anybody tells you, oh, just take a dropper, they probably don't know what they're talking about, because if you take a 1,000 milligram bottle and it is 30 milliliters, you got 30 full droppers, and it's 30 milliliters divided by 1,000, 30 divided by 1, it's going to come out to 33 point something milliliters per dropper. So if you take a half a dropper, now you're taking 15 milligrams. If you're taking a quarter dropper, you're taking about 7.5 milligrams. That should be the systematic approach on how you take CBD. And then you find out how your absorption rate is, because you'll start feeling better, or the way it makes you feel. So we'll tell our customers to start off with this amount in the morning, and if you feel like you need more, take that small amount in the afternoon. Do that for a couple days and see how it works, and then increase accordingly. But do it systematically with that approach, with how many milligrams of CBD that you're taking until you find your spot. And that's really what's been working for our customers. 80% of our customers don't even need a full dropper of 1,000 milligrams for middle level issues with pain, with anxiety, with sleep, with those types of things. So does anybody have any questions on, before we move on and get too far out of the way, does anybody have any questions on anything we've just said in the last 10 minutes? Yes.
Does the CBD oil know what your body needs to be healed?
The body knows what part of the body needs to be healed.
So it can cover everything on the list, that you don't even have to know what it's doing?
So that's exactly right, because there is not one CBD for this. There's not one CBD for that. They have high level, they have therapeutic characteristics. Like, we know CBD has anti-inflammatory effects. We know it has anti-anxiety effects. We know it has anti-tumoral effects. So CBD is a lot of anti-therapeutic, has a lot of therapeutic characteristics. We know THC has specific effects on the nervous system. It's really good for Parkinson's, epilepsy, those types of things. So when you take, that's gonna take us right to the next part of our session, because when you talk about CBD and when you talk about cannabis, there are 3 different ways, and this is what the legalized states are trying to push for legislation and verbiage to make this legal documents that people can advertise these particular things, and just instead of saying hemp oil or cannabis oil, they want to define what a CBD extract is, what a CBD broad spectrum is, or a cannabis broad spectrum, and then a full spectrum. They want those with definitions. And basically what they mean is, when you have a CBD isolate, it is the extraction of only the CBD, the cannabidiol, from the cannabis plant. Only the cannabidiol, the CBD. With a broad spectrum extract, it is the CBD plus the other C's, the CBCs, the CBCAs, the CBGs, the CBGAs, everything minus the T's, minus the THCs. And then when you have a full spectrum, it is every one of the 113 cannabinoids in there, including the THC. In Texas, the legal limit is 0.3%. That's the definition. So, depending on the level of chronicness, is what you should depend your dosage on. So if you're looking at a level 1 to 10, a level 3 anxiety, I can't get to sleep, you may want to start with an isolate and see if that does what you do. It does what you need it to do. if you're dealing with a level 9 or a 10 that you can't even get out of bed and go to work, maybe an isolate isn't broad enough for you. Maybe you need a full spectrum because you can't even function. Who cares about the THC? This is what I need to get back to homeostasis again. Does that make sense? And you have to find that out. So does it know what it has to do? Your body knows what it lacks. And you giving it those tools is going to help that, adjust. If that makes sense. Sure.
Are there tools that help you know for sure which is the best dosage and the best,
Well,
Are there tools as in?
like muscle testing, not stress testing, muscle testing? Or?
so remember when I started this off, I always get my blood work done. So that's a great methodology of making something measurable, right? You can look at your sugars, you can look at your blood pressure, you can look at your cholesterol, you can look at all those aspects of your iron levels and those things and find those deficiencies. That is the best measurable, and that's the only reason I go to get my blood work done, is to make it measurable. Anybody else?
For the full spectrum that has the 0.3 legal limit, will that show up in a drug test?
That's a great question.
So it is a great question. Over time, if taking it over time, it builds up in your system, and it can show up in a urine analysis as a false positive, or even a positive. So yeah, that's the reason why we also have a broad spectrum that doesn't have that THC, or an isolate for folks who have to worry about that either because of jobs. Jobs are one of the big ones. Can't have THC in my body.
VA
drug
benefits.
test. That too. Yep. VA benefits as well.
That's right.
So.
And he mentioned urinalysis, and a urinalysis is already very inconsistent. We know that already. You can get a false positive from poppy seeds. Everybody knows that. That's a world-known fact. But if you take a blood test, excuse me.
Can't use it as an excuse.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You can. But you can take a blood test, and they test for higher levels, negative. You can take a hair test. They test for higher levels, negative. Urinalysis is the only one that you do have issues with. What we've been doing, and we've been telling customers to go to their HR departments and tell them, I'm taking this product. It is a legal product. Your policy is testing for illegal products, illegal drugs and medicines and things like that. This is legal, so it should be taken off. So ask them to do your blood work. And so a lot of them are starting to adhere to that because it's saving them some money. Because this is, there's that gray area, right? So
That's what I was concerned about,
That's
because
exactly
I do
right.
have to go to the VA for testing, and
That's right.
And I work in a daycare with children, and my employer does random
That's
drug
right.
and alcohol
Drug
testing.
free.
yeah.
Okay.
And if
So
you
I
ask them
wanna
to
make
do a
sure
blood
that-
work, if you ask them to do blood work, do it right now. Now they have a point of reference, and then they could always refer back to that. So that's what we've been asking.
Yeah, because cannabis in general, hemp too, is still a Schedule I drug on a federal level.
That's right.
All 50 states it is legal. We're waiting for the 2018 Farm Bill Act to get pushed, so that way we can get out of the CBD can get out of the gray area and become the black and white that we're looking for. HSA, just so you know, does pick up CBD hemp, industrial hemp as well products. Not FSA, but HSA. I know that's huge. That's actually one of our most popular questions. Is like, does insurance or FSA or HSA pick it up?
Healthcare
HSA
spending
does.
accounts.
So
Healthcare spending accounts will allow you to spend money on cannabis products now.
you had a question?
And I'm thinking about it, yeah, and I missed one little thing, I think. The broad spectrum, but there is some, but that's the targeted that has a little C.
No THC.
No
Broad
THC
spectrum.
at all.
Only the
Yeah.
C's, no T's.
Okay,
Full spectrum is the only one that has the T's in it, the THC.
okay.
But I know there's been a lot of advertisements, especially with all these companies popping up now, that full spectrum, they have a full spectrum product with no THC. That's actually false because full spectrum is everything that comes out of the flower, all your cannabinoids. If it doesn't have no THC, it is considered broad spectrum. So kind of clear that up a little bit too for a lot of folks.
Where do you get your product from?
California, Nevada, Colorado, Washington
Oregon,
State.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
While cannabis predominantly, this is the question, so correct me if I say something wrong. Cannabis typically is the THC.
No.
cannabis is not typically the THC?
No, cannabis is the category for the two distinct plants of marijuana and hemp, which both fall into the cannabis plants of family.
Okay.
So,
They both have THC.
yeah, they both will have THC, but again, marijuana has high levels of THC, low levels of CBD.
Okay.
Industrial hemp or hemp has high levels of CBD, traces of THC.
Okay. And I'm gonna just continue.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I was next gonna say hemp is predominantly the CBD,
Correct.
right?
Predominantly, you're right.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, having said that, are they, if you will, the same in one while we just identified the differences?
Yep, I know exactly where you're going with this, but go ahead.
Exactly. So if I am in the CBD business, if you will,
Sure.
and if somebody else had a non-compete with me, so to speak, I'm just trying to give an example, would a hemp be a conflict of interest?
Yes.
Yeah, because they
under
are
cannabis,
both
yeah.
under
Cannabis.
the same.
That's right.
Yes.
And what is then the terminology of the same? What is the top line before you guys continue to help me understand the difference of each of the two that we're predominantly talking about?
So-
what is the?
So you're right, it's cannabis. They're both
Okay, so
cannabis.
it is
It is
cannabis
cannabis, you're right.
up here.
Yes.
Yeah, when you talk about business level, because you have to be able to separate them in order to do one legal and the other one is gonna be illegal, right?
That's-
It's that THC amount, that's
amount,
the criteria.
Point oh
Yes.
three
Point-
versus.
point three.
I mean.
0.3.
0.3.
Which some states allow 0.5 as well.
Yeah, state legislation,
So-
yeah.
Okay, but to
Yes.
date,
Texas.
we
But
all
today in
kind
Texas,
of
right
know
here,
of
it's
the
0.3.
0.03, right?
0.3.
Yeah, 0.3.
3.3.
Yeah.
And having said that, all 50 states allow
Yes.
the 0.3.
Correct.
Yes.
But they're all under the
Cannabis.
Cannabis
head
category.
of cannabis.
Cannabis.
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's
Then
exactly right.
lastly, and maybe this is part of this sector of question or not, but do you all sell flour, the hemp flour?
Yes.
Correct.
You do?
Yes.
So you actually will have suppliers from these legalized states
Right.
that will send you, for lack of better,
Yes.
just an example, cigars.
Blunts, sure.
But do you have cigars?
Sure.
Oh,
Yes.
you do?
We got 1 gram cigars that are pre-rolled.
Okay.
Yes. Then we have the flour that it's a 5 grams and 7 grams, or folks who want to just, control the amount that they
That's right.
want to use by either putting it in a smokable pipe or in a rollable
Well,
joint
let
as
us
well.
make a
so.
disclaimer. We have a son that lives in Oregon.
Okay.
Who has a farm.
See, so you know a lot about this.
Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
To the extent of communication.
Let me hear you out.
And so that's why he encouraged us to come to listen to you, to learn more as it is to the state of Texas.
That's right.
Where he is from, but he lives there operating a farm.
Gotcha.
And there at the farm, he does THC, he does the medical, he does the recreational, he does the hemp, he does the THC.
The
So
marijuana.
we're here trying to get smarter about
Yeah.
our son and his farm.
Sure.
And he said to help.
Well, he's doing a great thing. I just want you to know.
Yeah,
Because-
I'm feeling that.
Because the next aspect that before we wanted to move on to is why is the full spectrum, why is it so useful for those high levels of chronicness? Because there is this new cannabis trigger word. It is called the entourage effect. And we sat in front of a panel of surgeons, a panel of doctors in California. They're opening up CBD clinics in California, in Oregon, in Washington State right now. And they were telling us that they have a proven methodology of the entourage effect, where THC works as an enabler, a turbo booster, for no other terms, of the CBD to help it with those high levels of chronicness, where it is the only thing in American medical history right now that has reduced epilepsy seizures almost down to nothing, 3%, which no other chemical has been able to do that. Now, how does that happen? Well, it's such a dynamic plant. There's so many things that happen on there that they can take the same tests from different cannabinoids from the same plant and get different results depending on the THC from the same plant. So, going back to that whole plant thing, We don't care about the whole plant. Doctors don't care about the whole plant that are knowledgeable in cannabis. They only know that the therapeutic aspect is in the flower. So if people tell you we have this whole plant, it's the most natural of all cannabis, you don't care about that. You only care about the therapeutic aspect of it. The rest is lipids, fats, fibers, those types of things. Great nutrition, like Ben mentioned, but the therapeutic aspect is in the flower. That is the entourage effect of the THC working with the other cannabinoids and that full spectrum. That's why we still don't even know the potential of a full spectrum. And in California and in the other states, they're medicinal. They actually go by ratios. Well, they prescribe 5 to 1, 10 to 1, 20 to 1. That's the way they do it based on the diagnosis that the doctors come up with, the issue that they're trying to address. And they go in levels of chronicness, scales of 1 to 10. That is where we feel that Texas is going one day. We are huge advocates in pushing this movement. We've carried several flags. We know where the state capitol is. We've joined many support groups, those types of things, because we really believe. And one thing that doesn't get enough mention is that, does anybody know how the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, determines the overdose amount? Well, they take the amount that is deemed toxic at the cellular level, and then they cut that in half. And with cannabis, it is 15 pounds you must inhale, ingest, inject, I don't know, something, 15 pounds in 15 minutes. That's the halfway point. So there is not one case of overdosing on cannabis. So with that said, do you have anything you want to add? Because I just want to go ahead and open it up and let's just talk in a discussion and see if there's anything that we can answer from,
Or even testimony, your own testimony if y'all are taking CBD already also.
Real quick.
Well, which I think she had.
chronic back pain,
Mhm.
and my son gave me the oil,
The topical.
The cream?
the salve.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And I put it on my back every night, and I also have, I can't sleep many times, so I put it on the bottom of my feet. But what I'm kind of worried about is I put a pretty good amount on my lower back after I take my shower and everything and go to bed, and if I'm still feeling a little, that tightness, that discomfort, I'm always afraid, well, can I overdose? Can I put too much on?
No.
Or can I get some more out and put it some more?
Yeah, you can
in?
actually put more on. You can actually, even with the oils too, even when you consume it or smoke it, there's no such thing as overdosing. I've had
I'm
some.
always afraid that I'm gonna put too much.
Yeah, you can
So-
take the whole bottle.
That's right.
1,500 milligram
But
CBD, you'll be
I have
fine.
the salve.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's salve, same thing.
And it
Yeah.
absorbs. And then I
absorbs.
noticed that there's that marijuana smell, but then.
That's from the whole
I
plant.
put it on, and of course I don't like that smell, but then after a couple of minutes, it's gone.
Yeah.
There's no
Yes.
smell. Is it because it's so organic that it completely gets absorbed into
That
the
nanoscopic
system?
I was telling you about, it really delves into those
Because
tissues.
I mean, sometimes I get up and I have a backache and I don't want to go to work smelling that way, but then I realize, well, it goes away, that smell. And
Yeah.
is that why? Because it's completely absorbed into
Yes,
the.
and it depends on the carrier itself too. Like the salve that you're using, it absorbs pretty quick into into your dermal layers. Yes, the pores, dermal layer of your skin.
Yeah,
So
So, I mean, obviously a believer, so.
yeah.
yeah.
Question?
Yes, so other than using for acute pain, I guess, why would,
Why do people, would they be interested in this?
and isolated, yeah, versus like.
The number one reason why people walk into our store is pain. Number two is anxiety.
Okay.
Number three is sleep. Sleep disorders, they can't sleep. And then after that, it's an array of things. So, digestive issues.
Yeah.
Third stage cancer causes all sorts of issues. Epilepsy causes all sorts of issues. Parkinson's
yeah.
causes all sorts of issues.
So I guess I was gonna ask, so for instance, you got isolated for your digestive system, but your body naturally knows what it needs. Would it be
Yes.
redirected naturally to like your nervous system?
Yes.
It kind of goes right back to
Yeah.
his question.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it goes right back because we have
So-
because of the
Yeah, no, go right
because
ahead.
of the receptors that we have in our body. We've got CB1 receptors that's all over our brain. We have CB2 receptors that are throughout our nervous system, immune system, and so when those receptors come in contact with the CBD, CBN, or any kind of cannabinoid molecule, it sends signals to be able to balance and center all those homeostasis that's being caused by anxiety or inflammation, pain. I don't suffer from any kind of conditions, but I do cancer, diabetes, high cholesterol levels, high blood sugar levels actually run in my family. So I take it as a dietary supplement daily, as a cellular protectant for preventative care as well. To keep me, again, I want to keep, just like anybody takes multivitamins too as well.
Don't forget seizures.
So, and seizures as well. Yeah, seizures is one of the big ones, and it's even good for pets. Pets have the same ECS system that we have, and we even got pet treats, pet oil as well, even for horses, even for cats. And in our group, you see all those testimonies in there, and you know, their anxiety or their inflammation or they have seizures too, are being taken care of because of CBD.
So there's really no reason to like isolate it as an advantage.
So isolate it's good for like a specific target. Like if someone just has that one anxiety, for instance, like I keep going back to anxiety because it's huge. I mean, even men have anxiety that come in.
PTSD, right?
PTSD too. So if someone's just suffering just for that one, and they just want that one, then yeah, they can take an isolate as well.
I have a son. I've been following your in your Facebook group, and I've been following your page for quite a while. I have a son who has quite a few conditions. He has autism. He has ADHD, global developmental delays, some digestive issues. Would a broad spectrum or a full spectrum? Because he needs both the psychotic, I guess, and the therapeutic. So would he be better off with a full spectrum product?
Full spectrum all the way through
All the way,
for
yeah.
anybody. To be honest with you, the reason why we have broad and isolates is for reasons for either someone's wanting to, they're skeptic about CBD or they're scared because
It's a great
the reefer
introduction.
madness. It's a good introduction to, yeah, as you said, to you know what may work. But full spectrum is always the way to go. It's just
He takes several prescription medications
Okay.
for his conditions, and we go every 3 months to his psychiatrist in San Antonio. And I want to get him off of those medications so bad because some days he does okay with them, and some days he's a doped out zombie. And I want something that's I want to get him off of those.
Sure.
I want him to be completely natural, be like functioning and not, doped out staring at the wall.
absolutely. And
That's the number 2 question that people ask us. The first one is, will it come up on a drug test? The second one is, I take prescription medications. How will this affect me? And we always tell them,
yeah, that.
Do you do a cold turkey taking off?
Okay, so
this is what we tell them.
So doc, we actually don't recommend getting off of it or weaning off at all. That's up to your doctor to do. Folks just start weaning off naturally when taking the CBD, which we always tell them, do not take the CBD and your prescription medication together because your digestive system will choose one or the other to give a 2-hour gap. After a while, they start seeing that the CBD is actually overriding the medication and feeling more better.
Okay.
And so little by little, they're weaning themselves off.
Yeah.
But
We
you
never
never want to
tell
take
them
off cold turkey.
No, and I completely
Yeah.
understand. I guess I'm trying to gather enough research
Sure.
to be able to tell his doctor, hey, I want to do this. I want to.
You just need to tell him. You just need to tell him we're going to try
We have an
CBD.
appointment in like a month, and I'm
Yeah,
trying
you
to.
just need to tell him.
I'm trying to, because
Yeah.
I've,
You
brought
don't-
up more
you don't
natural
have to-
approaches before, and it's like, okay, no, he needs to be on the prescription. I'm like, no, this is not. I don't want my kid doped up.
You don't have to justify what you do to your son.
Okay.
You're not doing anything that you're not taking him off medication. You're adding something to him that is natural. So, the doctor that I go to, and I'm just going to tell you, his name is Dr. John Abdo, and he's fantastic. He used to be a medical doctor, and he was so tired of pushing prescriptions that he studied in China for 10 years, and now he's a homeopathic doctor, and he just phenomenal. He gets super chronic cases of child cancer and those diseases that they just have no hope, and he starts treating them with natural remedies, and the results he's had is just amazing.
So
And
how would you think I need to bring this up to his
I think
psychiatrist?
the way I would do it, I would just tell him.
Yeah, just tell him.
Just to let you know,
I'm
he
looking
started
into
taking CBD.
Yeah.
That's what it just needs to.
Isn't that this whole subject? I mean,
It is.
It
this
is.
is so natural. It's all
is.
political. It's pharmaceutical.
And that's exactly
they just
right.
don't want you to have something that's naturally good for you.
And that you can
That's-
grow yourself
that's
also as well. Yeah,
all
your own
pharma.
medicine. Yeah, big
That's all
pharma.
it is. It's a money thing.
Yes.
And so the two reasons why doctors are against it, and is two main reasons. I mean, there are a few other ones too, but two biggest reasons because big pharma, you know,
Big pharma.
they got their hands in their pocket.
Big time.
And another one is because knowledge, education, lack of education is not there because they don't add that into their education
Well, they
system
have
when
been
becoming
allowed.
that
It
degree.
started back in the 30s. They started
No.
querying it and saying
1936.
it's wrong,
Yeah.
and it's been a fight for 30 years. Finally, the move is we're not taking that nonsense anymore.
Yes.
You're holding back a natural. It's no different than wine. That's a natural. That's a
It
great.
is natural. Yes, great.
That's a
absolutely.
natural.
Yes.
Yeah. And so going back to that, just to put a number on it, 13% of all medical programs in the United States, only 13% of them include the endocannabinoid system in their curriculum of their medical field. Most of those in California, Washington State, Oregon, those types of things. So they just don't know about it.
Personal testimony. I never took meds in my life. In 2012, I had a heart issue. Now it costs me $400 a month. Okay, with all the meds. Don't misunderstand me. I'm taking them because they're saying that. But when I'm out visiting my son, okay, I take all natural.
Yes.
Blood pressure as low as can be,
Yes.
as
Yeah.
natural as can
Yeah,
be. I
that's
come
right.
back here, okay, spike up, down, trying to play with the meds. I mean, I'm a personal testimony. I mean, it's so commercialized on the med side. Just it's
Very.
ridiculous.
And that's what I don't want for my son, because every few months we have to adjust one or the other, and I'm tired of seeing him go through withdrawals or up and down.
Yeah.
You just have to
You know,
try
side
this
effects,
approach. You have to
exactly.
try it, and you don't lose anything.
No, you have
because
nothing
you're
to
not
lose.
taking off it, and you
You have
won't take
nothing to
anything off
lose.
of it.
Nothing,
You just
yeah.
give it to him, and you'll see.
On the same note, so you said not take at the same time?
Yeah, give it 2 hour gap.
2 hour gap. So, like, I guess following that, like, so when you go ahead and titrate as you normally would, like titrate down, or would you just replace one of your dosages with like oil?
So no, you don't replace it. So say for instance, let's just say 10 o'clock, you're used to taking a certain medication that the doctor prescribed. 8 o'clock, you know, take your CBD, or vice versa. Let's just say 8 o'clock, you're taking your prescription medication. 10 o'clock, take your CBD. Yeah. Because again, I can't tell you not to. I really can't. But I mean, like she's in our Facebook group. I'm sure you've seen people, their testimonies that are in there, how they've already weaned off their medication
And that's
as
what I
well.
want to do. I want to wean my son eventually, or at least have him a very low dose of
That's right.
the prescription,
That's right.
or wean off completely,
That's right.
and just do something completely natural. So I guess it's a weaning off process of the prescription as you add in the CBD to it.
Because the
Is that
CBD helps
correct?
with the withdrawals from it as well. We've seen results on withdrawals, the CBD really counteracting those withdrawals, so they won't have as much or as bad.
Okay.
And then, so what about for like acute anxiety? So like, you know, prescription drugs, you take the five pretty
Absolutely.
immediately. Would you go ahead and take the CBD instead? And then,
So for anxiety, you said?
Yeah,
yeah,
acute
like
anxiety.
Yeah, acute anxiety, okay.
And then you use that within like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we found out works best for acute anxiety, like a situation causes you, the fastest way, do you remember what the fastest way to get it in your bloodstream was? Vaping,
Vape.
right? Smoke something, gets right in there. It doesn't last as long, but it gets to work faster.
I have chronic pain on Percocet for the most part, like every 4 to 6 hours. The pain doctor, no, you can't do that now. Keeps cutting you back, and I was in a panic. And started on Charlottesville about 2.5 weeks ago.
Oh, Sweb's a good product. It's a very good product. We don't carry it, but it's a
And-
great product.
And withdrawals, that's what worried me, because I
What those withdrawals, yeah.
understood what they were like. I was on vacation for without, you know, the right dosage, and I wish I'd had it, but it makes an unbelievable difference.
It does. It
I've
does.
got, I mean, it's back pain, it's arthritis, it's knees, it's like everything.
And so what our customers have gotten some really good results with is to have a topical pain, targeted pain cream, and then the relief oil, the oil inside their bloodstream, in you know, through the sublingual
Yeah.
glands, and fight that inflation topically and internally.
I found one that's mixed with arnica.
Oh, arnica?
Arnica's good,
That
yes.
is
That's the
doing
product.
unbelievable things from our arthritis.
Absolutely.
So we're starting to see a lot of new products come up. We've seen CBD infused curcumin. You're going to
Yeah,
see
that would be the
arnica.
other one,
You see
sure.
all those types of
Oh
things.
my gosh, that would be super cool.
Yeah.
And we're looking for, of course, we try to bring in quality products into our shelves. I mean, we narrowed it down from 1,000 different companies down to where we just brought in a 14th one, and all this is working great. I mean, there are no pesticides, no
No
chemicals,
GMOs.
no GMOs, no extract. When they extract, I mean, it's crucial because there's nothing's regulated right now. So I have all third-party lab tests on everything that I need to pop up in case the feds come in. The source, if it is CBD, not marijuana, because again, CBD is also in marijuana, but our CBD is coming from industrial hemp, which I can prove. But no, it plays definitely a big factor with that.
The main difference is the way that it's bred for the tea. It's the same plant as marijuana.
It's the compound. It's the chemical compound in it.
Yeah.
Higher
And-
levels of
and-
different things. Yeah.
And it's just the way that the plant is bred.
No,
with
it
that
is
higher
the
level.
chemical. It's the compound that organism. It's like a German Shepherd and a Chihuahua. They're both canines, but they have a different DNA makeup, right?
Okay.
Bigger. And
Well, they do look different.
They do.
Or German Shepherd and a wolf, like they're those are even almost the same too as well, and or you got different labs out there. To a retriever looks just like a lab.
But they both have THC. They both have cannabinoids in them. They're just different mixtures. Yeah, different
Yeah.
mixtures.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, I have a day hab education center for special need adults, and a lot of them we have to medicate them with lorazepam and strong medications to keep them from having psychotic
CBD
and
would
psychosis.
be CBD would be fantastic.
And I would just love to introduce this to the fosters and parents and providers of these, I call them kids, but of these people, to keep them from always giving them
The pill.
the pills,
Yeah.
the lorazepam,
Yeah.
So how could I possibly introduce them to something like this?
Introduce us to them. I mean,
Huh?
introduce us to them.
Perfect.
Yeah, maybe you can introduce us to them. Like I said, we're
Especially the caretakers, whoever their
They have
caretaker.
these psychotic episodes, and I wish that I could just give them a little something.
Absolutely. No, something
But-
natural.
But what
yeah.
do I have to do? I have to give them medication, the pill,
Yeah.
you know.
And unfortunately, and a lot of that is the reason, there, because of the society aspect, the stigma that comes with cannabis.
Yeah.
A lot of the reason is why CBD came out as an extract. This is how you're not going to break the law. We're going to take just the CBD out. It has some therapeutic characteristics, knowing that if we start there, then we can pull other ones out. And now we got the full spectrum, because now the majority, we're a government of the people, right? Hopefully we can get knowledgeable enough and start changing that legislation. So that's what this is all about.
What is it that you're backing for? You said the Farm Act? The
Well,
2018 Farm Bill Act, yes.
yeah.
That helps separate CBD out of the gray area.
Yeah.
Puts more in the black and white. It'll separate it from hemp and marijuana as well, because marijuana does have the psychoactive effect. It can cause paranoia on a lot of people, but THC also has their own therapeutic aspects, like anti-tumoral, anti-cancer. It can stop the spread of cancer. I've already seen it shrink tumors.
Customers,
already.
we've seen customers,
yeah.
tumors go down.
Yes. So.
I mean, you can't put that on the news enough. We've seen people incapable of holding a job, taking our products for 4 months and start applying for jobs because they can handle that society now. It's,
Yeah.
you just can't find it. I think that's all we had, right?
And you guys are so interesting.
Thank you. Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
earlier you mentioned that CBD affects how you feel and your emotions. How this could be done.
How does that work? What is the science behind it? Well, to put it simplistically, because once again, I'm not a doctor and I'm only a part-time scientist, but that CB1 receptor in your brain that controls your emotional state, So that CB1 receptor, when it gets what it needs, when it starts giving you those issues, that's a sign that it needs attention. It needs something from your immune system. It needs something from one of your systems. That endocannabinoid system controls all of those subsystems, and it uses cannabinoids to do so. So when you have a deficiency in that, those receptors start firing off more, asking for help, because it's a feedback loop. And so it's giving you a sign. Like when you get a fever, it's telling you something's wrong, right? So when you start having those emotional issues as well, something is wrong. And so how do we fix that? Well, we know that the nervous system, we know that the immune system works better with higher levels of cannabinoids in them. And so that's what we give your body. Does it know where to go? Your body knows where it goes. And that goes back to this gentleman's question is, how does the CBD know where to go or when it's, embedded in your body someplace? So your body is a world, miraculous system, that nobody knows everything about. All we know is that the endocannabinoid system is very, very important. And in order to keep that healthy, cannabinoids is what we know. We have data, we have facts that prove that it enhances that system, and that system enhances our other systems, especially our immune system.
Yep.
I hope that answered your question. I don't know how else to say it.
Do you carry
Absolutely.
anything that's similar to the Charlottesville?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely. It's a full spectrum line. And so another thing that you're gonna see when you're out there looking for CBD is you're gonna see different levels of CBD. You're gonna see milligram levels in oils, and you'll see percentages in other aspects. All that means is if you look at that container, and if it says 250 milligrams, in that whole bottle, it's going to contain 250 milligrams of CBD in that whole container. So how you dose it is key on how much CBD you're getting in your body. And then, remember, always ask, is this an isolate? Is this a broad spectrum? Is it a full spectrum? If they don't know, you should turn around and go someplace else. That make sense?
Anything else?
You guys need to write
Very
a book.
informative.
Take the show on the road.
Yeah.
We did, but we truly, when we sat down and we wrote our business model, we said, we have to have an education aspect day one because there's just so much information out there. How do you put it together to make it look like a story? And that's
Yeah.
what we've done. So we
Our-
try to simplify everything.
Our
When did
grand
you start
opening.
your store?
March 28th. March
This
28th
year?
of this year, yes. In New Braunfels is our first one. We had a grand opening, of course, on 420, birth of Mary Jane. And we were a member of the Chamber of Commerce in New Braunfels.
Yeah, that was a great story.
Yeah, this one was, so the night before, half the Chamber of Commerce, about over 60 of them, were talking amongst themselves by email, by Facebook, of what are these guys doing here? Why were they
Why is
here?
this cannabis
Why
shop
is this
gonna open up
cannabis
in our
open
little
New
town?
Braunfels? And if everybody knows New Braunfels, it's a tight-knit community too. I'm a third generation of New Braunfels, and that's why I opened New Braunfels first. That's my home to me. But no, yeah, half of them wanted to figure out a way to get rid of us. The other half was like, look, we're going tomorrow, let's hear them out. You walk in, it does not look like a head shop. It does not look like a smoke shop. It's
very
professional health
transparent.
and wellness, very clean, very professional, and the education that he gave to them, they were all there just like this, walk inside. After we gave them the spiel, they went in trying out our products. They went in buying the products. They came up to us and said, "Hey, this is what happened. This is what we did."
I'm
That's
that
how we
guy
knew
that wanted
about
to get rid of you last night.
Yeah. So,
But
So
no,
the half that was negative
Yeah.
came your way.
on your side, yeah.
but it's just the education. It was the
Yes.
lack of education that they didn't have
Absolutely.
in their assumption already because of reefer madness that's out there. That's been out there for the longest time, back in the 60s and 70s.
I think
which
we-
I wasn't around.
I think we're gonna have to take this question coming from the back of the room over there.
The hours of operation.
So we are open 7 days a week. If you're looking for us, we have some cards. We're open 7 days a week because health and wellness never stops, right? So from 10 to 7, Monday through Saturday, and then from noon till 5 on Sunday. So we'll have products available for anybody who wants to come in. Or
Okay.
just ask questions. We ask people just to come in and ask questions if you have questions. Our staff is extremely knowledgeable because we constantly give them information, and we grill them. We put them in different situations because that's what they have to deal with.
Every
And,
so often, we'll bring them with us to our education classes. When we got to go to Colorado, when we got to go to California. Our store manager came with us the last trip to the CBD Expo in California.
It was just
So
blowing
it's-
out of the water,
yeah.
just how different we are from Texas to California, and how
Man, yes.
everybody understands and nobody understands down here. So, I mean, you would think, I mean, there's only 10 of us or so, right? You would think that there'd be 100 people in here because of all of our chronic issues that we have, So, we're doing it one step at a time. So,
Spread it, absolutely. Yeah, let's turn the world green. That's our motto. So.
Well, I really appreciate everybody showing up today. I hope you got some information. I hope you got some
We do have
enjoyment from the
samples.
conversation.
We do have a sample of cream. If y'all
So-
want to give it a shot, a certain target pain, so y'all can try it out too as well. You're more than welcome to. It doesn't have the cannabis smell though.
But eucalyptus oil. But I do want to applaud you guys for coming in and getting education. That's the first step in taking
Absolutely.
control of your health and wellness. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.